theory that someplace at the heart of the most compelling stories is something that doesn't make sense.
There are some people down in this hall that just enjoys what they're doing. They enjoy the challenge and they enjoy telling people a wonderful story. And so there are some who are born with the talent. Others search for it or discover it by accident. Then a small few gain inspiration through other people. In each of these situations, the potential creator always starts somewhere, and it is up to them to learn the trade and get better. Along the way, they would build networks that could help them reach their goals. Their success depends on their passion and devotion to see it to the end. It is the people you know versus the skills you know. You can only go so far with one or the other. You need to develop these two until you can be that someone you want to be. In this corner of the den of hunters, we have one that exercises both venues to the fullest. And he does it with his love and passion for literature and for the challenges it takes to tell a good story. This is a venture and story of Richard Ford. Richard Ford was born on February 16, 1944 in Jackson, Mississippi in the United States. It was near the end of World War II, and the U.S. was taking Edward Tucker Toll. His parents just moved from Little Rock, Arizona. His dad, Parker, was a salesperson and his mom, Edna, was a stay-at-home mom. They were a happy family. Parker taught him the ethics of working hard and obtaining your goals. And his mother helped him cultivate his skills and desires. Perhaps his experience growing up is what helped him enrich his passion in literature. His relationship with his parents led him to write a memoir in their honor in 2017. Between them, Remembering My Parents. Mississippi provided a lifestyle for Richard that helped him later on in his life. Richard went to the same elementary school where another student who later would be his partner and editor had already graduated. Sometime in the future, Richard and Eudora worked together on many projects, even his own. This helped him earn the Pulitzer Prize in Fiction and the Penn-Faulkner Award in 1995 due to his book, The Independence Day. Independence Day is a second installment in the Abercrombie novels. It follows Frank Abercrombie, who is a failed sports writer that had an existential crisis when his son died. The entire series followed Frank as he slowly readjusts to his ever-changing life and the world around him. The series focuses on the pros and cons of everyday life. Growing up, Richard had many jobs before setting his course in literature. There was a time when he was learning the locomotive trade and when he was in the United States Marine. Throughout his life, Richard had to learn to deal with dyslexia. Dyslexia, while it was hard for him to read, but it never stopped him. At a young age, he was passionate about literature, so he learned to overcome it. Writing never came naturally, and he still had to force his hand to do it. Acknowledging his weakness, he did his best, and had earned up to 10 awards, the latest being in 2016, the Princess of Asturias Award. Early in his adult age, he had tried getting into the sports writing industry, but he never got the job. Richard had later become a teacher, where he spent most of his time helping minds to develop a passion for writing and for literature, and to inspire young minds today. During his time in university, he met and married Christina Hensley. though they never had kids, thus adopting 3 dogs in their own households. Christina, realizing his passion in literature and seeing his present success, convinced him to keep on writing. He became a renowned professor, loved to inspire the passion of literature to all his students. Richard mentioned, literature has one of its principal allures, that it tells you something about life that life itself can't tell you. I just thought literature is a thing that human beings, as we see, he has a love for literature. We all could have, and we all could understand that from time to time. I certainly love literature myself. And I love reading, telling stories, and critiquing them. The reason we critique and review stories is because we want people to get better. That's the whole reason why we do. We don't do it to tear down others. We do it to help them to get better. And we are passionate about that skill that is so ancient and yet so powerful. You see, literature has a way of transporting the mind to distant lands, both fictional and non-fictional. There's a lot about it that makes people wonder how far words on a single piece of paper or on a screen can take you. If phrased in the right way and reaches the right people, it can change lives, yea, even change worlds and perspectives. Like any other form of entertainment, the way one uses them can mean the difference. Literature and entertainment are intertwined. It's all bound by language. You see, Richard knows that language is a powerful tool. Whether it is used in films, comics, or any other form of media out there, or any other prey. You see, Richard heavily believes that language can build bridges and civilizations and make relationships. Being aware that the world is full of chaos, and however society is very corrupt, he engages on revealing the hypocrisy of it in a writing style known as dirty realism, what I like to call the more serious cousin to satire. See, dirty realism is a breed of literature that started in the United States in the 1980s. It depicts the seamier or more mundane aspects of ordinary life. There's an interesting word with the word seamier. While learning is that seamier is an adjective that means to reveal the least appealing aspects. With Richard's love for literature and entertainment, he has published 14 novels, about half of them contain multiple short stories themselves. His recent book was a memoir to his parents, and the one that he is more proud of is a book that he calls Canada, which we will soon learn about later. A film adaptation of one of his books, Rock Springs, in 1987, and it was retitled Bright Angels, 1990. Rock Springs was one of his volumes that contains short stories that focuses on the dysfunctional sides of families and groups. He contributed and or edited up to 7 books. Currently, he is writing 2 more novels, And I Am in Retirement from Love, and The Irish in America. He lives comfortably in East Boothbay, Maine, and his last known job is being a professor at the Columbia University School of the Arts. Inspire minds in the field of literature and birthing more story hunters like yourselves. It is essential to understand that not all forms of entertainment, that however you start into the field of entertainment, doesn't have to be on a mission to change lives and change the world. It's sometimes you start with a challenge, something that you're really passionate about, something that you want to instill and inspire many minds. whatever reason you decided to enter the field of entertainment, to become a story hunter, to hunt down your chosen prey, to tell wonderful stories. Sometimes it is hard to remember why you're doing it in the first place. When one enters the entertainment industry, sometimes it is to have fun. And sometimes it is something that brings amazing things to people. Of course, there will be drama, and you might have to defend your livelihood, your family, and everything else. But in the end, when you are doing films, writing a story, or doing anything creative, it is important to remember why you are doing this, and possibly who you're doing this for. The field of entertainment isn't just about money grab, and it isn't about popularity, at least to me. Whatever it means to you is personal, but as with me, I do this to inspire, to change the world, or to change one soul at a time, to do everything they can to chase their dreams, to do it without regret. Sure, it might be stressful. Financial problems might arise, and political and peer pressure might pressure you into choosing a certain path, and to making you make uncomfortable choices, and to sacrifice your morals and standards. But never forget who you are and where you come from. We have seen too many times with other story hunters in the past, and currently have lost their ways. I've decided to forget why they're doing this in the first place. So it is essentially important to remember when you see it on the big screen, or see your work being published, you get a sense of pride, and it's worth it. When you see people enjoy that film or your story, you get excited, and you want to do it more. You want to do it again. That, to me, is what it's all about. As a story hunter, we are all entertainers of a sort. You get your energy from people's enjoyment. If you have a passion for something, you have to pursue it until it becomes a reality. Many of the hunters deep in this den have sacrificed so much. One thing to remember from Richard is that you always work. What you are passionate about. No matter the challenges that comes, you can overcome it. It might be hard, but you will make it, and you'll achieve your ultimate goal. Further down this den is another story hunter, and I'll put what he would say concerning this somewhere in the extension. So here, but without further ado, let's listen to a short extended interview of Richard as he talks about his book, Canada, and you can learn something from it. Of course, it would be accepted, so you would have to watch the rest on your own.
Is a large novel about two children whose parents rob a bank, and who are almost, upon the robbing of this bank, immediately caught by the police and put into jail and into prison. And the children themselves are whisked away. It's a book with a lot of incident in it. So for me, it's probably, in those regards, the most ambitious book I ever wrote. I called it Canada because that's what I called it when I started thinking about it, which was in 1989. And it was a title that endured through the whole time of my thinking about it when I wasn't writing it. It's not a novel that's about Canada particularly, although it has, as it gets on toward its end, since it's set in Saskatchewan in the second part, it has Canada in it a lot. But it was Canada in a kind of metaphorical sense. It was Canada being a place away. It was about crossing borders and about what it means to cross physical borders and what it means to cross emotional borders, what it means to cross spiritual borders. I mean, I know that sounds a little highfalutin, but nonetheless, if you're going to write novels, you might as well be highfalutin at the book side. I suppose the scene that attracted me to it at the beginning of this time was the scene in which Belle's parents rob a bank. I was very enthusiastic to write a scene in which someone robs a bank. That was a garish narrative hook at the beginning of the book, which was kind of tantamount to me throwing down the gauntlet on myself, basically saying, okay, if you're going to start this talking about murders and bank robberies, that's a nice challenge to yourself. Can you write a book which is up to that challenge? I'm always trying to write books that ask the most of me and get the most out of me and set up challenges for myself that I can make both interesting and that fully consume me. I spend a year before I start to write compiling a big notebook, and it's a notebook that looks like a kid's high school notebook, and inside of it it's got dividers with little colored tabs at the top, and for each colored tab I have the name of a character, and I have the name of a location, I have the name of what I think are the general principles of the book. I have some that I just call scenes that I might like to write. So before I ever write word one, I've spent the better part of a year or a year compiling all of this information into this big notebook, which is sort of the book of the book in essence. And then when I've got as much in it as I think I need, which is usually around 150 pages, then I just start studying it until I feel like I'm avoiding writing by studying. And then at that point I try to think, can I write the first sentence? And so by that time I'm so thoroughly familiar with what my plan is for the book that the first line becomes simply inevitable to me. I mostly think of characters as not being physical presences, but as William Gass says, as being sort of foci of language. For me, they are sources of intelligence, sources of language, sources of utterance. And so their physical presence is always slightly less interesting to me and less compelling.
So, thank you for staying. If you like what you are hearing, you may continue down in this hall. There are other story hunters you might be interested to know about. If you have any suggestions on who could fit into the den of halls, let us know and we will make a place for them. And if you have any stories, whether in films or in literature, that you would like us to review and narrate if possible, please let us know and we'll do our best. And we'll even do one of your own. So, I hope you, and if you are visitors here, I hope you do decide to join our pack. It is a remarkable pack and we are indeed growing. But we will need more numbers so we can spread our message worldwide as much as possible to instill the heart, the beast of creativity, to waken that beast within us. So I hope you join our pack. And if you do, welcome. So until next time, be ready to hunt when you hear our howl.